Well, we are ready to start turn 9, and as you recall, turn 8 ended precipitously. And when a turn ends without formations having activated, you pull an end operations card out, and you put the headquarters on that card. Now, the helicopter units don't have a headquarters, and so I think what I'm going to do is just drag a random helicopter out of the counter mix to put on the card, because these cards being in the formation deck affect things, right? And the same with the Warthog. So we had this extra Warthog counter here, so that will go on the end formation. But an interesting tidbit here is that these headquarters were suppressed during the last turn. And in my little way of doing air support, which is contrary to the game rules, the air supports were also suppressed. Now, the East German air support came in last turn and was chased away and became suppressed, so it does not have to activate this turn in order for the turn to end. But the Warthog was in the formation deck and did not activate, and so it moves to the formation card, so effectively becomes unsuppressed. Although it's over there. And these other headquarters also move to the formation card, and so they effectively become unsuppressed as a result of the turn ending. So another example of what I think is brilliant in this game, the way the things that happen in the game can have so many different kinds of consequences and create so much uncertainty. So not just replayability, but so the turn ended very quickly, which was bad for the Warsaw Pact, since they now have one fewer turn to be able to accomplish their objectives. But it helps the Warsaw Pact in that when these formations here activate, their headquarters will be available, and so they'll be able to be in command and move, depending on how well they rally, move as a unit. And so here we go. I've got to pull a couple of helicopters out to put on those formation cards. The U.S. helicopters are Cobras. Next game I play, there's going to be some Apaches, which are awesome. And the Soviet helicopters are the Hinds. And so I'm going to just go ahead and put those markers here on the card, so that when those formation cards get pulled, I know that the turn can end. But this is going to be a long turn, right? A lot of stuff's going to happen here. So here we go. First pull is the the East German air support counter, and so that had been suppressed. And so in my little rendition of the air support, it becomes unsuppressed and available the next time this card activates, which will be next turn at most. I didn't just pull the same. Okay, here we go. So the B Company, 3rd of the 8-1 8th Infantry Division, that is this outfit down here. So here comes their formation card, or their headquarters, I mean. They're in here somewhere. They're second from the bottom. And so their plan at this point is to fall back. This group of units here are are in bad shape and not really going to be able to do anything very effective. These East German troops don't need to keep moving this way, so they want to get these units rallied. They're not mounted, by the way, so each unit has to make its own roll. And then this infantry unit over here is disrupted. The Abrams will be able to move on its own, and the M113 isn't going to move anywhere without first loading this infantry unit, which it is not able to do in a disrupted state. So I have to decide where to put this headquarters, right? Where do I think it will do me the most good? And um, I think that for a couple of reasons that it needs to go here to help this unit rally. Disrupted units are allowed to move if they don't move closer to a unit that is in their line of sight. So these units can't mount, but they can move back here because being on top of the hill will keep them out of the line of sight um, of any enemies. So they won't be moving closer. So let's do a rally roll for this infantry unit here, and let's see if they will. They failed even with the headquarters assistance, and so they are stuck there. Bad news for them, I guess. Now over here we have 2 to conduct. The infantry unit fails, and the M113 passes, so it rallies. That isn't going to have too big an effect on anything. And so I have been, using the solo assistant, but I'm countermanding the solo assistant here, and just ordering that unit to fall back. I think that makes a lot of sense in this moment. Although we now have to decide, should the Abrams stay here and try to cover these infantrymen a little bit? I don't think so. I think that's a pretty valuable unit that we don't want to get cut off or overrun, but we do have to know what the implications of line of sight are going to be. And so this might be just a little bit complicated. So the Abrams could move along the ridge, and it would still possibly be in the line of sight of, yeah, it would be in the line of sight. There's a blind hex there, but only one. So these T-80s could take a shot at it. Abrams are pretty tough. If it moves here, then here, there it's covered by that woods. There it's covered by this jutting promontory and woods. And I think that there aren't any particularly great anti-tank assets out here for this infantry unit, but they would go ahead and take a shot if they had one. So that would be 1, 2, 3. No, I think in this clips here. So I believe that the Abrams can move this way without coming, there's smoke there, without coming under fire from any enemy units. And so it will do that. 1, 2, and what did I say about up here? Now up here, so that's down that hex side, so that would be a shot for this unit, and only one of those units is eligible to fire at this time, but then these 2 units here, they'd be clipped there. They can't make that shot. So that was 1, 2. I should turn movement trails on, and what did I just say? I said there is a shot there. The Abram had that would also be point blank. That would be point blank. That would be blocked by these trees here. So 1, 2, 3, 4. I think that's blocked. Yeah, it's clipped by this promontory. 5. So there's a shot there. No, look, it clips this woods hex. Pretty sure that move, yeah, 5, 6 puts the Abrams there on the road. Hoping that it will be able to activate again before all of these tanks up here. This M113 needs to stay where it is because it's trying to let the the infantry come up and mount and then help them get out of there. These units cannot mount into the transport because they're disrupted, but they can move farther away. But if they, as soon as they move into line of sight of an enemy they had not seen, they have to stop. I think that they see all those enemies, so I think they can move 1, 2, 3 safely, and 1, 2. The transport will move with them to be available to load up if they are able to rally. And the infantry unit here, again, allowed to move away from units, so we'll move there. Now that triggers an opportunity fire shot, and I think that it's worth the risk because in this hex here they're elevated, so they'll get an extra save against fire. So the Abrams tanks, HE is 6, and so I guess this is a point blank shot, right? Well, I'll say that one is blocked, right? And that's a range of 4. So that those tanks there can certainly take a shot, and they will. One of them will, the full strength tank will shoot 3 dice needing 5s. Ooh, 2 hits. And so the infantry get 1 save at 5 for being in the woods, and 1 save at 5 for being at a higher elevation than the firing unit. And they make 1 save, and so that makes it, they become reduced. So was that worth it? Who knows? Time will tell. And that is the end of that formation. And so move the movement trails, and we will see who moves next. East Germany designates a formation. Now, this smoke screen here is thinning out, and so this is the objective here. So they will easily take this objective. What they're going to be dealing with is an opportunity fire shot from this tank, but they also have some anti-tank weapons in range there. Now they also have these T-72 tanks up here that could use this card and get moving down here, but it seems to me that the best bet is to get the infantry trying to roll and able to maybe also mount some of their units up to take advantage of the captured bridge and move on towards the next objective. So we do have to see that there is going to be a potential shot if the East Germans enter that hex, and it also looks like that is a potential shot right there. That is at the end of the unit's range, and also, whoops, they're not moving. They're trying to see if they have a shot. So this American unit will finally get into the fight a little bit, which is good for them. And so let's see what we've got here. Let's start with this hex here. Let's start with the BRDM anti-tank. It's going to fire 3 dice, needing 2 to hit. I don't know if I have been effective in done this correctly, but the Abrams tanks with the orange triangle have the reactive armor. I think the Soviets is reactive and the Abrams is Chalbom armor. So against anti-tank guided missiles, their save number drops from 5 to 4. I may have messed that up in the past. I either have or I haven't, but we're going to take this. Well, first we got to get the headquarters in, right? Let's do this the right way. And I also am going to have to make certain that that everybody is in command here, or know who's in command or not in command. So let's see if let's see what this command range is. And so it looks like almost any unit that I deploy this headquarters to will keep the entire formation. No, not quite. These units over here, we do want to bring them back. So what if I put it here and I give a couple of extra dice to one of these units that's going to fire? I think, no, because then they're out of command, right? Let's, the self-propelled artillery. would have to make a command check. So yeah, so I have done I've done a little bit of meandering here. I definitely want my artillery available. This unit could also call in the last off-board artillery, although that doesn't seem to make sense. So I'm going to put this headquarters here, and now we're going to make some command checks. That unit is out of command, that infantry unit. So what we can do is we can bring some transport units over here to be ready to pick these up. That unit also fails. Interesting how as the game goes on, morale checks are harder to pass. That would be an interesting optional rule, that after a certain amount of time in combat, your likelihood of making a successful morale check goes down. I put the headquarters here. Okay, so I don't think I'm going to call for that artillery strike yet. I'm not going to call any off-board artillery. I'm going to start with 3 dice needing 4s for the BRDM anti-tank unit. 2 hits, that's pretty good. So 4 dice needing 4s for the Chobham armor, and then a 5th dice needing 5, if they still need that. 1 save, so this matters. Oh, and so the little tiny BRDM anti-tank unit does its job. It disrupts the enemy tank. And so let's take the next shot with the BMP-2, 4 needing 4s. That's 2 more hits, and again 4 needing 4s, and then 1 needing 5. So this time the tank, the Abrams, saves itself. Is ops complete. Now we have 2 T-55 tanks over here. They're stationary, and so this will be the first time that I use volley fire. When 2 pieces of heavy armor of the Warsaw Pact are stacked in the same hex, they are able to fire as one unit, and what happens there is one of the units is designated as the firing unit, and the other unit adds 1 additional die to hit. And so it makes it more likely that you'll score more hits on a given attack at the expense of more dice rolled, but with the difficulty of disrupting and shooting at the Abrams, that's often a good move for the Warsaw Pact. These tanks aren't that great, so we're going to be taking oh, these were point-blank shots. All right, I need to check this. So yeah, so there was 1 extra hit rolled by the BRDM anti-tank because it was point-blank, and so the Abrams was not only disrupted but reduced because it only saved 1 of those hits. And the BRDMs rolled 1 more hit, and so there's 1 more save at 5 for the Abrams to try, and it does make that. Okay, don't need to be showing everybody my therapy stuff. I'm a therapist, in case you wondered. And okay, so this is now reduced and disrupted, and now we're going to get a shot, and there's no, this is just a tank shell, so there's no reactive armor, Chobham armor stuff here. So it's going to take 4 dice needing 6s. And no hits from the volley. So they are now ops complete. So the headquarters is mounted on the BMP-1. The BMP-1 is shooting out of smoke, so it suffers +1 on its 2 hit number. So the 3 dice would become 5 for the headquarters. The 4 would become a 5 because of the smoke, but would go back down to a 4 because of the point blank. So they're going to try that. 4 needing 4s, right? 4 needing 4s. 1 hit. And so 4 dice needing 4s to save. They easily save that. This unit is ops complete. Seems like a good time to, well, the truth is, this unit here is not much of a threat anymore. I don't think we need to keep trying to reduce it. I think that we can start working on taking the objective. So, let's see what we've got here. We have one infantry that remains mounted and one infantry that is not mounted. And so I am going to see if I can induce the enemy to fire with one of its units. So now we have to go to the solo assistant. That infantry has moved 2 so far. And the solo assistant is going to draw a card, and we're going to see what it's telling the American defenders to do. Well, I guess the first thing, no, they can't move. It's only, are you going to fire or not? And this enemy is in point-blank range, so solo assistant uses the red priority. It says to fire or low-risk move, no movement allowed here, and so firing is what this tank is going to do. And it's at effective range for its machine gun, so this is 3 dice needing 5. That's a single hit, and the infantry gets only the terrain bonuses, so it gets, I think that the city gives it 2. Let me look at this. Terrain effects, city. For troops, it gets plus 2 d6, and then there are wrecks, so it gets plus 1 d6. I'm pretty sure that the wrecks provide that for troops. They do, and infantry do not max out. They can have as many defensive die as the terrain allows. So they're going to get 3 dice needing 5s to save the 1 hit. And they saved the 1 hit. And so they did their job. They drew fire. I think that as the Warsaw Pact commander, I am probably less prone to send units into harm's way and draw fire than I should be. So this infantry will now make a final move right here, which makes it available to assault that Abrams at a later date. It also puts it in, well, so that's ineffective range for the machine guns. So the solo assistant might tell them to fire a long-range shot there. I just don't think that that makes any sense, and so I'm going to countermand the potential for that order to be given. And so, but it is not, it is an effective range shot if they fire here at any armored unit. And so we're going to have, we have an, oh no, we have this unit here. It says loaded, but it's not. What do we have up here? We have 1 mounted and 1 unmounted infantry. 1, 2, 3, and that's all that it could do. So can't send any more infantry out looking to draw fire, but we can send an unmounted, a lone armored personnel carrier. It can move 1, 2, 3, and now we have to see if the solo assistant is going to order a shot. This is at effective range, so fire is the first order, and so yes, I always say that it's the closest unit, so that's a range 11, that's a range 10, so this unit will fire, which means that it's getting 4 dice plus 2 for the headquarters, so 6 dice needing 5s. Wow, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so wait, was that infantry was mounted? That was the wrong unit. That would have been great if I could have done it, but I couldn't. Let me get the correct unit. 1, 2, 3. So this is the. All right, so. There we go. All right, so that's 4 hits, right? 1, 2, 3, 4 hits, and so this gets 1 save at 5 for its armor, and a save at 5 for the city, and a save at 5 for the Rex. That is the max defensive bonus. They could potentially save 3 hits. They save only 1, so become, first of all, unload infantry. Then they become disrupted and reduced and ops complete. And this unit has done its job and is marked ops complete. And so the next units that will move will be this stack here. These are 1, 2, and now a potential shot. We have to refer to the solo assistant. This is effective range, so yellow priority. I think maybe those dice in the upper corner of that card indicate I'm supposed to be shuffling these cards. I'll have to check that in a minute. So fire, first order. So here we go. Same thing. Well, so 4 dice because there's no headquarters here. 4 dice needing 5s. No hits. And so the unit with the infantry mounted can continue, or it could dismount the infantry, but it's going to continue. That was 3, 4. Don't need to bring the blown bridge marker with us. 5. We also don't need to bring the reduced and disrupted armored personnel carrier with us. There's the blown bridge. Get that oriented correctly. So where did my, they're both there. Okay, so that was 3, 4, 5, and 6. Yeah, they're just going to go out there, and they are potentially going to get chewed up by this tank here, but they're supposed to be taking risks. This dismounted unit here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They'll just spread out a little bit. This unit up here, we have a mounted and an unmounted infantry. So we will take the unmounted infantry, which is reduced. No, okay, the full strength unit is there. It's going to move here. It can't mount because that unit is ops complete, but it can be available to mount up and ride on the next turn. And I have to pause here because I have to go to work. So let's finish the East German infantry's move. So this unit here, or this stack here, are infantry that are mounted in their vehicles. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, they'd be stuck there. So one thing about these infantry fighting vehicles is that they're not so bad in assault. That's particularly true about the Bradleys. I really messed up in utilizing the American reinforcements. That Bradley assault number is 3 dice needing 4s. Those 20mm cannons apparently were vicious in close quarters, which makes sense. And so what I should have done with the Bradleys was put them in a position to wait till the enemy was ops complete and make assaults. Failed in that way, but such is life. So you got one more tank here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think this tank is going to move here. And if this unit fails to become disrupted, or it fails to rally, it's really not going to be able to move anywhere, even if all of its opponents are ops complete. So that is going to be bad news for this tank. They've got it kind of penned in. All right, now the unit, the headquarters stayed put, or they fired, and then the infantry are not yet loaded. So this hex has 2 units in it. I cannot move through it. So here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Helicopters do not contribute to stacking unless they are landed. So that unit is there, and they are ops complete. Did I make this tank ops complete? Yep. And now here's oh, did I forget I forgot to see if these units rallied. So these units are mounted, so they rally or not all in one. And so this unit, this stack of units is rallied. The transport is making the rally roll. And this next stack here, yeah, they have to make a morale training check as well. They failed, so they remain disrupted. But these units, they can act. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and get right on the objective. There we go. While I'm at it, well, okay, we're going to just remember that objective has been seized by the East Germans. And the mortar unit is going to go ahead and mount up on the truck, which I never marked as unloaded. So there they are. And yeah, deploying them over here was a mistake. They have to go 1, 2, 3. So it uses half the movement points of the transport to load the infantry, or to load a passenger. And now the self-propelled artillery, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 is probably a good place for them to go. And there are now a couple units left. Here's an armed personnel carrier that is going to move over. He's just going to move over, well, 1, 2, 3, 4, and it's be ops complete, so that hopefully they can figure out a way to rally those units. And up here, this is the recon unit, the BRDM recon unit, and I think what I'm going to do with them, since they don't worry about command, they're going to move here 3, 4, 5. Now they will have to take fire from this unit here. I'm trying to get them in a position where they can call some artillery down, but I think from this point here they aren't seen there. They are seen there. They're not seen there. Let me just get line of sight for this unit here. So they can't see there. They can see there. So this unit's going to move right here and stay there and see if it can do anything useful. There's only one artillery mission left off board, so we're going to conserve that as much as possible. But it seems like bringing that down to get the final objective is probably a good idea. You know, could well be that the infantry is able to take this objective by itself, even if these Americans hold off the enemy tanks up here. So let's see who acts next, and then I will once again have to stop the video. The Scratch Force. Okay, so that's not good timing for them. They don't have line of sight to any, well, maybe they have line of sight here. They don't have line of sight to any enemy units, so that activation is used up. And now that is good news for the Americans, because this formation has been marked ops complete, and so being activated removes all the admin markers. I'm not sure whether the best thing to do with this formation is to make them available for op fire, or to take shots. These are thin-skinned vehicles, so the best thing to do is probably to try to light these mounted infantry, or the armored fighting vehicles, infantry fighting vehicles, try to light them up, disrupt that infantry, and slow this advance some. So that's probably what we'll do. But for now, I have to end this video because I got to go back to work. So wrapping this one up, and we'll be back with the rest of this turn shortly.